Hello and welcome to Taking You to School with Dr. Tom Prichard. I'm your host, JP John Paz from the Two Man Power Trip. Of course, joining me, the star of the show, the former WWE World Tag Team Champion, one of the greatest trainers ever in the history of the business, the Doctor of Desire himself, Dr. Tom. How you doing today, sir?
John, I'm doing great today. Someone asked me tonight, or asked me what we were going to talk about tonight. I didn't know, and I thought, maybe there's some other things we can come up with besides just talking about the modern day product. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. Hey, whatever you want to talk about. I know Bo James always wants to talk about old school wrestling, so I know that.
Well, what's wrong with old school wrestling?
I know I love it.
Yeah,
Might
not
might be
everybody else
better
does.
Might be better than modern day wrestling.
What do you think? Who knows?
Very interesting, though. I wanted to kind of touch on this first. Vince McMahon. Speaking about old school, obviously he's retired, so we think, but he was just at the Super Bowl with Shane and the Undertaker as well. But I'm getting mixed signals. I don't know if you're here reading or seeing the same thing. Some people are saying case closed. Vince's lawyer is saying case closed, and then all of a sudden, other people are saying no, no, no. He's still being investigated by
Who, who's the other people?
different like websites online, like Post
Oh, okay.
Wrestling. Yeah, a couple guys that just have been covering this case since the beginning say it's not closed. So I don't know. Do we believe Vince's lawyer? Do we believe the guys covering the case? I don't know.
Well, can't you get answers like that? Don't they have to answer you truthfully if you ask them?
You would think so. You would hope so.
Yeah,
But
you hope
Vince's
so.
lawyer himself said case closed.
Right.
That it's done. And remember Vince? Remember a few weeks ago we were talking about that weird tweet. He said case closed. So yeah, I don't know what the heck is going on. There's maybe an appeals process where there's an appellate court going on. But besides that, I don't think the federal government is still investigating him, as far as I know.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to find out eventually, right? I mean, if somebody's saying it's closed, they must know something.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't think his lawyer would say that if it wasn't true.
Yeah, I think he could probably get in trouble for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. King of Kingsport himself, Bo James, the legend. Hello, gentlemen.
I don't know who he's talking to.
The modern day cowboy, Mitch Miller. Good evening, gentlemen. Eric Tate. Hey, Dr. Tom, do you like Raw on Netflix so far?
I think I've only seen two shows on Netflix so far, and I like the touch they give it with adding some of the old school guys and celebrities and things like that. People coming out to watch professional wrestling on Netflix. It acts like it makes it a bigger deal than it already was.
So you're giving it a thumbs up so far? The
I'm gonna
Netflix
give
Raw.
it. I'm gonna give it two thumbs up.
Oh, okay. All right, I like that. I like that.
Yeah,
Barbara, hello. Hi, Dr. Thompson. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well and having a great week. Sorry she's late.
Barbara, you're never late. You're just in time.
ATF Media's got a follow up here. A judge ruled that Jerry McDivitt, Vince's lawyer, illegally withheld proof that McMahon forced employees to sign NDAs. Interesting. So I wonder if that'll bring it back into the fold, or what will happen with that. I thought I know obviously that's when the NDAs happen, but I thought Jerry was retired now.
I did too. What does he have to do with this? Obviously, he has illegally.
I guess back when he had them, whatever year was 2020 or 2021 when he had them sign the NDAs, or even well past. There was two people that he paid like years ago when they signed NDAs. We don't even know who those people are. We know Janelle Grant, but we don't know the other people. So maybe that's what they were talking about all the way back then.
Wow. Well, I hope they get it sorted out,
Hello to Jason. Hello.
Jason.
When can we expect to see Dr. Tom on Raw on Netflix? Huge celebrity, former WWE superstar, former tag team champion as well, by the way.
I think it's. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
I just talked to Tommy Angel. I don't know if you remember
I
Tommy
did.
Angel.
Yeah.
He said he worked at Heavenly Bodies. He loved that. So it's like, wow,
Cool.
pretty impressive. He put that on the resume, so
He
that's
did.
a good thing. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And he wrestled literally everybody, Undertaker, Sting. I mean, he's wrestled, and he puts Heavenly Bodies on the resume. Pretty cool.
That's who he wrestled.
Yeah, like top guys. Yeah,
Oh, I see.
yeah, like
Okay.
the best of the best.
The best of the best, of course.
Dwayne Angelo. Thoughts on Ricky Stark's appearance in NXT? Actually, he was returned from WWE since his cameo with Ryback and then Roman Reigns. What did you think about that? He shockingly made an appearance last night in NXT.
Wait, he made a cameo with Ryback?
I think he might have done job matches previously, like many years ago. Like
Oh,
a
okay.
couple guys have done throughout the years.
Oh, I thought you were talking about recent history for a second.
No.
Okay. No, I think it's a good spot for him. I think it's great that he's getting an opportunity like that. I mean, that's a great opportunity.
Did you see the surprise appearance?
I did not.
So basically, he just comes out through the crowd, doesn't say who he is. He just goes, "You know my name." Maybe a little bit of a Scott Hall there. Remember when
Yeah,
Hall invaded WCW? Maybe like, "You know my name," but he didn't say, but you
right.
don't know why I'm here. He didn't throw that one out, but he said, "You know my name," which is interesting because maybe he couldn't say his name because legally he's not Ricky Starks yet, or maybe WWE is waiting for because he was in AEW yesterday or
Hmm.
2 days ago, and then the day later he's in WWE. So maybe they're doing something contractually where he couldn't say he was Ricky Starks. But even the announcer were like, "We know who that is."
Well, that's possible. Or maybe they just want people to start talking about it and see if they really do know his name as
Oh,
much as
true.
he thinks. So I don't know.
What do you think
Anything's
about
possible.
Ricky?
I'm trying to remember if he was the one that somebody zoomed in on punching somebody, and he punched the ring post.
I don't think that was that him. I don't think so. I thought that was one
I
of the
don't know.
Dark Order guys.
Yeah, but then there was something with Ricky Starks. I thought there where he punched the ring post.
I don't remember that.
Okay,
Maybe, but I don't remember that. But I remember he got heat and he got in trouble because he showed up with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is like his good friend. He showed up at Royal
right,
Rumble and somebody got him on one of those CCTV cams. Like he's
right.
backstage, nobody knows he's there, but somebody took a picture of the CCTV scan, like to try to get him in trouble, and he ended up getting some heat for that. That he was actually at the Royal Rumble with
Well,
Cody one year.
I bet you the guy who took the picture now is getting heat.
Isn't that crazy though? They're like trying to get him in trouble. Like, oh, Ricky, he's
Yeah,
at this show, even though he's behind the scenes, so nobody should even know he's there.
yeah. Well, it just goes to show you what kind of business it is. A lot of who's eating who.
I didn't know this. Undertaker literally just revealed this yesterday that he was doing training to get back in the ring. He said, and Ricky Starks was one of the guys that he was working with to get back in shape. And then Michelle McCool, same thing. He said she worked with him to get in shape to wrestle. So he's like kind of connected to these people, which is great.
That's great. Yeah, good for him.
Craig Seaback, British Columbia in the
EC
house.
in the house. That's good.
Magazine Retriever said, I saw a video of an outdoor indie show where a guy spit fire on his opponent and there was no fire extinguishers around. The victim was on fire for 2 minutes. Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Holy smoke! I mean, you can get pretty bad burns after 2 seconds or 20 seconds.
Call me crazy, though. If you're going to do that spot, aren't you making sure there's an extinguisher somewhere around, like
Well,
before?
I'm going to make sure, but if this was an outdoor indie show, I'm not sure these guys were making sure of anything to be
Yeah.
sure of.
I wonder what league it was, because that sounds kind of weird. Outdoor indie and setting each other on fire and stuff almost sounds a little bit
Yeah,
backyardish, backyard
well, I was going
wrestling.
to say, what promotion was that magazine? I want to know too. What promotion was that? And who was the
Maybe they,
guy?
yeah, I want to know that too. I want to know who the wrestlers' names. I want to know everything. But maybe they don't want to know who, because it's a little embarrassing.
Yeah, I would guess. I would sure think so.
Jason is saying, I saw Vince and Shane were at the Super Bowl. Did they arrive together?
I have no idea.
I would
I would
imagine.
imagine it would. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably so.
Um, it looked like, I couldn't tell, but it looked like they were in the same section when they were taking that picture. I know it was three separate pictures I saw, but it looked like Shane, Vince, and Taker were kind of in the same section. I would imagine so.
So was Taker with Vince?
It looked like it. Yeah, it looked like he was in that same section.
Oh, okay.
Still friends with Vince.
Sure.
Dale Mountain. Dave Meltzer recently made disparaging remarks about the late Mean Gene. Okerlund Mean Gene is a legend. Dave Meltzer is a quote unquote grease stain. Whoa,
What did,
what's going on here? What the heck?
I was gonna
Why?
say, what did Dave say about Gene Gene?
I don't know. I don't know what he said.
Hmm.
That's weird.
Wow.
Maybe he called him the old Scott Hall line, scheme Gene, maybe?
Skim Gene, I don't know, possibly.
Right?
What did
Remember
Gene
that
mean?
remember that old scheme Gene?
Sure, I remember the Honor Sheik baby calling him Gene Min.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
right, Gene Min. Yes.
You know what's funny about Mean Gene, just like thinking about it, because I was actually thinking about this the other day. So I always used to call the hotline 1-900-909-9900, which was the WCW hotline. God, this is 30 years ago, but I used to do that all the time. He would actually, and I didn't really pay attention to it, he would actually give spoilers on the hotline. Like he would
Hmm.
reveal who was coming in. Like he kind of was going into business for himself a little bit, which is kind of funny because they said he made money off the hotline. Like I remember asking Sullivan about it. He said he made a lot of money off the hotline.
Good
I
for
said he
him.
would legit give spoilers.
Hmm. Well,
Would you be okay with that if it was your company? Or like, hey, what's this guy doing on the hotline?
yeah, I don't know if I'd want to give him away spoilers,
Yeah.
but you know. Hmm.
Mike the Street Cat, Gamers Hub. He says, "Hey John, big fan, busy tonight." From Mike. Hello, Mike. Craig is back. He said, "Who were the big names in Portland when you were there?"
Rip Oliver, the assassin, Buddy Rose, me and Mike Miller. Portland was a small territory. They had a small crew. So it was myself and Hack Sawyer. We were working a tag against Rip and the assassin, Dave Sierra. And then Buddy would come in. Buddy Rose would work with Matt Bourne. Kurt Hennig was there when I first got there, and he was leaving at the time, going to New York. So those were top names. But you know, a lot of people weren't aware of. You heard of Elton Owens, right?
Oh yeah, the son.
Okay, yeah, no, that's Barry Owens. Elton Owens,
Oh, the brother. The
the
brother.
brother. Yes, he would run in Eugene, and he had an affection for shooters, guys who could really wrestle. And Kurt Hennig was a shooting champion. So when I came in, I didn't beat Kurt for it, but I think Matt Borden and I wrestled. And I won the shooting championship in Portland, Oregon, or in Eugene, Oregon. And everybody, yeah, oh yeah, I was a shooting champion. So what
Were
we
you
do is,
were you a legit shooter?
does the Pope shit in the woods as a Bear Catholic?
Yes, it does.
No, no, of course. So you know what I mean? But he gave everybody who got this trophy would know if you worked the trophy, the shooter, the winner would get 25 and the losers get 15, something like that. And you come back and just divide the money back, and each got made like an extra, whatever it was. But that was back in the 80s. Yeah.
I got to throw this out there. The Portland Pro Wrestling Expo, Saturday, February 22nd at the Holiday Inn at the Portland Airport. Go to PW Expo for more info. Just want to throw that out there. They're actually having a pro wrestling expo for the Portland area, and a lot of like
Very
random,
nice.
yeah, like Rocky De La Sera, CJ Bergstrom, like a lot of rare guys I'd never heard that really did signings before. Moondog Moretti's out there, Mike Miller,
What
like
about the grappler?
the Grappler. Yes, he's one of the headliners.
Yeah.
A lot of guys I know. Bushwhacker Luke is out there. Ricky Santana, Lance Von Erich, the Tonga Kid. It's like a lot of cool, just like random guys that aren't necessarily always around. So
I would think that's a very niche audience.
yeah, I would think so too, definitely.
Yeah.
But kind of cool though, and like with John
Yeah.
Nord, the Berserker, like pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
Hopefully
I
they
wonder
do
if
more.
I wonder if anybody knows what Alma Drill is doing now.
You know what? I forget who I asked about him, and they said that they talked to him recently. He hates the business, doesn't want to talk about like he wants nothing to do with wrestling. So
Right.
he's like bitter, kind of. Yeah, that's what I
Well,
heard.
he was bitter then, man. I never understood it until I got to be his age and I understood it a little more. He was a bitter old son of a bitch then. He's only 30.
Bo says, I sent you the video earlier today of the fire. Wow. Look at you. You didn't even get his message. You ignored it. Wow.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Bo. You got to tell me because I don't see anything about the fire, about any fire.
The wrestlers, the fire, putting themselves on fire. That we were talking about how the wrestlers on the indie show putting each other on fire. They didn't have fire extinguisher.
Yeah,
Bo
but
said he sent it to you.
no, he didn't send it to me.
Yeah. Barbara said the Sheik called him Gene Mean, which was awesome.
Gene Mean, yes.
Frank Norquist. Tammy Sitch's recent early release request has been denied. Go figure that 8 DUIs, with the final one being a fatality, would lead the court to deny her probation. Yeah, that was got to be slam dunk, right? I mean, there's no way you're getting out of that.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to get out. I really don't. I think she's going to be in there for a while. So,
Scorch, the expression show them the ropes, quote unquote, goes back to sailing. Yet in pro wrestling, you always literally show the students the ropes. What do you think about that?
I think that's true. I think that's very true. They have ropes. You're going to show it to them anyway.
Bo, by the way, said the video is in your Facebook messages.
Okay.
Thank you, Bo, for clearing that up. Doug Myers. Hello, Dr. Tom from Rockford, Illinois.
Doug, how are you?
The Rockford Files, was that Rockford, Illinois? The old show?
Me.
Oh, I don't know. Have you ever been to Rockford?
I'm sure I have.
Craig says Mike Miller had a great look for being a heel, was a tag champ with the Cuban Assassin over in Calgary as well.
Yeah, I thought Mike was great. I met Mike in Atlanta when it first started. He was a good guy then, and shortly went up there to Oregon and stayed there for a while. He's still there, I guess.
Dwayne wants to know, in addition, Ricky Starks is the current Defy world champion. He beat Kenta, formerly known as Hideo Itami in WWE. Do you think that Starks can carry the belt even though he's now in WWE?
Well, weren't they doing that just recently with TNA?
Oh, yeah. So it seems like with this regime that they're open to, like if you're champion somewhere else, like they'll actually let you work a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Interesting, though. I wonder if Defy knew that he'd be headed to WWE. You know, like giving him the title. I probably wouldn't have given the title if he was headed to WWE.
Well, you never know. Because then they can always say it was our champion.
Now, obviously, they didn't use Ricky Starks, AEW, meaning they didn't really use him that well or as good as they could have used him. Do you think any reason behind that? Like they didn't job him out, they didn't do anything. They just took him off TV and stopped using him. What do you think? Is it because he was going to WWE? Is it because he's boys with Cody? Is it because he's buddies with Punk? Like, what do you think the reasoning is behind that?
I think some people have their opinions, and when you want something done your way, it's kind of hard to convince them any other way even exists. So I can understand to an extent where Tony Khan wouldn't want his talent hanging out with WWE talent because then they see what it really does look like and how it really is. And from what my understanding is, it's okay today. I mean, it's still got a good competitive element to it, and all the boys take it seriously. But I don't know if it's because I really don't know Tony Khan's personality or what he thinks, but I could see where he wouldn't want his guys hanging out with anybody else except people from his company. I can understand why, because they might start seeing things and hearing things that they just thought about or dreamt about. So I think it's great he's getting an opportunity.
If you were like booking him or you were in charge of him, would you make him like job out before he has to, be going his way? Usually that's what happens in wrestling. It's the history of wrestling. Usually the guy kind of loses on the way out. He doesn't even book the guys on the way out. He doesn't even use them. Is that like the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do?
I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but if it's a thing you want to do and you own the company, you should be able to do it. If you don't want to job the guy out, I mean, just because you don't feel, if you feel that it's better not to, for whatever reason, I mean, he could have done it, but he didn't. So I mean, he doesn't want to do. Didn't want to squash him on the way out, so it'd kill his chances. And even if it did, I don't think it'd matter.
Mitch says, hopefully Miro, aka Rusev, comes back to WWE. Yes, I was just telling you off air. He was released too the other day from AEW.
And I always thought Miro was great. I always thought Miro had a ton of potential. Then he just kind of got stuck.
So weird that I was looking it up to see how many matches he had because I was like, he didn't really wrestle that much. He was off all of 2024, didn't wrestle at all. He only had 36 matches in basically 5 years with AEW. Isn't that crazy? 36? That's it? Isn't that
Yeah.
nuts?
Yeah. I know guys have been in business about 20 years old and they had 36 matches.
But that's to me like, oh my God, you should have 36 matches probably within 2 months.
Well, if you're getting booked regularly, yes.
That's just crazy to me that he basically wrestled 7 times a year. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just unfathomable if you think about it. Like, could have done something with him. He obviously, is a good hand, good wrestler, good look, good promos. He did that Redeemer gimmick, which I thought was pretty cool. So big mishandlement of the Miro.
Yeah, not sure what happened there.
Maxine says on Instagram that wrestler that set himself on fire has a lot of Jim Cornette memes in the comment section. Corny, of course, has the expression of disapproval of this guy.
Well, that's too bad.
Doug says Cheap Trick is from Rockford, Illinois.
Sounds like it.
Are you a big Cheap Trick fan?
I'm not a big Cheap Trick fan. I don't mind Cheap Trick. They opened for Robert Plant and somewhere in Alabama. Shane Douglas and I went to see Robert Plant opening, Cheap Trick opening for Robert Plant.
Nice. How was Robert? Probably awesome, right?
Rob was all right. Yeah, we thought it was Jimmy Page playing with him, and his guitar player at that time just looked like Jimmy Page. It wasn't Jimmy Page.
Damn, what a ripoff then.
Well, no, it wasn't really a ripoff. We knew we weren't getting Led Zeppelin. We were just getting Rob.
Right.
So
right.
Good. Yeah.
Very interesting also because we mentioned Ricky Starks, we mentioned Miro, but Aleister Black, a.k.a. Malachi Black, also released from AEW. He's also gone free and clear. I could see him heading back to WWE. His wife, Zelina Vega, is in WWE, so I could definitely see him headed back to WWE.
Yeah, it could get, they just let some people go, so it could get kind of crowded again real quick because they're bringing back some big guys.
Some talented guys, too. Like, I think Starks, I don't know if he was, when you were with NWA, I don't know if he was there, but you could tell even at that point, there was something, like the guy had something, you could tell.
Yeah, well, good. And if he stays healthy and does the right things, and more power to him.
Mike the Street Cat, big fan of Dr. Tom. I remember his matches in 1993 and also Survivor Series 1993, the tag match spot. Maybe one of the best Survivor Series of all time is 1993. That's when he started watching. What do you think of the Survivor Series 1993? I know you're not a big fan of that match against the R&Rs.
No, I'm a big fan of the match. The people weren't big fans of the match.
Well, true. Yeah,
No, I was a big fan of the match. People that we were supposed to be entertaining weren't very entertained by it. They thought, what is this stuff here? Y'all go back down home and do that shit. We want to see some other goofy shit here. It's kind of how it was in Boston Garden. Damn right.
They want to see some gimmicks and stuff. They didn't want to see Southern tag team wrestling.
They want to see Southern tag team wrestling. They don't have a clue what they want to see. They want to see the horse shit. So we didn't have enough horse shit that night.
It's crazy. Super Brawl '93, same year, WCW, same match. Obviously, replace Stan, right? Or right, you replace Stan with Del Rey, but still,
Well, Stan was in Asheville, and then we
yeah,
placed,
yep.
yeah.
For
So,
WWF, like, but basically, same match or similar match, but got a great reaction at Super Bowl, a really great reaction.
because we're performing for wrestling fans.
I did like Survivor Series '93. I did think it was pretty good. The Hearts, you started the Brett and Owen feud, so that was cool.
Mm.
Luger in the main event, the All Americans, Luger, the Steiners, and Undertaker against Yoko, Borga, um, Jacques, and Crush. So, and obviously Luger beat Borga in the end. Maybe not the right decision, but I don't know. I kind of like Survivor Series '93. There's a good Macho Man appearance. I do like that pay-per-view. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, there was some pretty good matches and elements of Survivor Series '93. I liked it.
Just for whatever reason, that crowd in Boston is not a fan of the
I
heavyweight
got
division
it.
or
The
the
North
rock and
hates
roll.
the South. We get it. I understand. You can't have a Southern match up there just out of principle alone. That's all it is. I'm going to go Jim Cornette here in a minute.
SS '93, good matches. I agree.
Goddamn Northern motherfuckers. They don't know shit.
That was from BX Big Dog. Said good matches. Survivor Series '93. Yes, I agree. Unless he's referring to, by the way, because he did put SS '93. Unless he's talking about SummerSlam '93, because that was great when you guys wrestled the Steiner brothers. Maybe your best match there. So unless he's talking about SummerSlam, because it also could be SS '93. That was great. Great show.
Well, maybe so. So why'd you go to Survivor Series instead?
I don't know
Oh,
why. I don't know why. I was wanting to kind of pick
yeah.
on you a little bit. Yeah.
Because you felt let's go that route instead of the other one
Yes.
where they actually
Yes.
liked the match. Yeah.
Yes. Big Dogs, by the way, saying yes, SummerSlam. Big fan since a baby. Wow.
Wow.
Dr. Tom, are you a Kiss fan?
Yes, I am.
Have you ever seen them live?
Yes, I have.
What did you think?
Thought they were awesome, but I still think WWE has the best pyro anywhere. Kiss had good pyro, but I was really expecting to blow WWE away. But no.
Great show, though, live, I thought.
Great show. Great show.
Mike was talking Survivor Series '93. Love that pay per view. So look at that. He was talking Survivor
Cool.
Series. I do like that pay per view too. Definitely pretty good.
Mm.
Interesting here from Dell, by the way. Here's an interesting. Hulk Hogan and his Real American Beer Company are being sued for negligence by an Akron, Ohio woman after she was hit in the head with a sealed can of beer last year. Wow. So it looks like Hogan and Real American Beer are getting sued for a woman getting hit in the head with a beer can.
Were they throwing her out to the crowd?
Yes, and I believe they were saying that everybody was all hyped up, like Hogan got the crowd too hyped up, too excited to drink beer. Can't do that. I can't get them too hyped up, And I guess somebody threw a beer and hit her in the head.
Well, see, it wasn't Hogan. He didn't do it.
How much money could you get from getting hit in the head with a beer can? I wouldn't imagine too much, would you?
I think you might. You think you might be able to get a couple cases on it at least. Say, hey, Hulkster.
Yeah.
Cases.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Real American Beer. I went down to Florida a couple times. I've had it. It's pretty good. It's basically Miller Lite, but it's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, I tried it in Iowa. It was all right.
Oh, you did try it. Okay, nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's literally, I felt like it was Miller Lite with his label, like put over the can. Yeah.
Well, who's to say it's not? Come on.
True. That is true.
Yeah.
Frank says, quite often, the fans like a match more than the wrestlers themselves do. That's how I felt about Smoky Mountain Wrestlers matches in the WWF in 1993.
Of course, everybody hated those matches. So,
but he's saying sometimes the fans like the match more, though.
Well,
so
I
maybe
know.
maybe you're kind of underestimating it. The fans, how much they loved some of those guys.
Well, chances are I am. So it's because that was what they put out. That was the vibe everybody put out. It's like once you leave the South, you go to WWE and WWF at that time. You either, well, the only thing you had to do was adapt, and we didn't adapt like we should have.
This is from Jason. What do you remember about the final Paul Bosch Houston Wrestling show in 1987?
I guess you're talking about the WWF show at the time. I just remember it was the hell of a house, the Sam Houston Coliseum, and when I was growing up, that's where I'd go every Friday night, and it looked so big as a kid, and then as I got older, it still looked big to me. But now I'm coming back, we're working and wrestling and in this building, and it didn't look so big anymore. And on this night, though, it looked like everybody was stuffed in the buildings, so like standing room only, and it was a bittersweet pill for a lot of people to take because Paul had been such an institution there for so many years. But I remember it being a good show, a happy show, and everybody had a good time at the end.
Did you ever keep up with him after like Bosch? Like, were you still close with him or no?
No, at that time I'd already been on the road, and Gino had passed away, and I think Paul was doing what he could to stay alive. So no, we really didn't talk.
So the Paul Bosch retirement show, right? I mean, technically that's a WWF show, but you're not in WWF in 1987. You know what I mean? But like they brought you in, so that was all Paul Bosch
Sentimental,
is doing.
yeah, sentimental favorite. Yeah, I
Wow,
worked with
nice.
Mark Lewin. Yeah, it was very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, very cool.
That was my first experience working with it like that, and it was very cool.
Is there ever any talk of signing you at that point, considering that you're kind of on one of their shows?
No,
Oh, wow, okay. The main event: Mil Mascaras and Tito Santana versus Demolition. And of course, the real main event didn't go on last, but the real main event: Hulk Hogan versus the One Man Gang.
right? Yeah,
Big show.
big show. I think the Houston fans got a hell of a show that night.
What is the story about Paul Bosch taking the money? It was at that show where he kind of disappeared with the money.
It's not that he disappeared. He just felt that he should get all the money. He should get the entire purse. And they had worked out a deal, I think, beforehand. I don't know all the details, so I wasn't in on it. But of course, I've heard the rumor and innuendo. And that was the idea that Paul figured it's his last show. He should take the gate. And he did.
What did Vince think about that?
I don't think Vince was very happy about it.
Can't imagine. And Bruce was there on commentary, so Bruce was there too.
Yeah.
Craig Seaback, WCW had the Demon angle where he used Gene Simmons' makeup, but it flopped. Do you remember this?
I remember seeing some of the Demon angle, yeah. But I think it's kind of hard to do, and it's one of the most iconic bands in the world. You know, I mean, you can do it, but the guy also has to connect with the fans besides the band.
So WCW obviously had to pay Kiss because they actually performed, live on Nitro. They paid him a pretty good chunk of change. But Brian Adams is the original Demon. He comes out at the end, and that was going to be, they're going to have the Kiss Demon. They're going to have this gimmick. But then all of a sudden, it turns into Dale Torborg, and they kind of don't really do much with him. I mean, he kind of feuded with Sting and Vampiro for a little bit, but never really won a lot of matches. Just, I don't know, weird, like to do that and give this guy this gimmick and keep basically saying it's Kiss and this is the Kiss Demon, and then he's not really getting a push or they don't really do much with him.
No, well, yeah, I don't think they were going to do much with him anyway. I think it was kind of limited.
Scorch, Dr. Tom, I recently heard Brodus Clay, aka Tyrus, mention the quote unquote mid card mafia drama. Have you ever experienced that in any promotion that you work for? Mid card mafia drama.
No, I'm not quite sure what he's talking about. No, I've never heard that or
I gotta,
experienced that.
yeah, I gotta know more about that. I wonder what he means. I guess maybe you're in the mid card and you're stuck in the mid card. I'm guessing
Mafia drama, I guess.
he's through. I guess, right? Mid card, you're stuck. But I'd like to know more, Scorch. Keep me posted. Magazine said it's interesting to me that WCW was able to rip off WWE's Mr. Perfect theme song for Sean Stasiak. There was no cease and desist. I don't know if you remember that his nickname was Perfect Sean Stasiak.
Hmm. Well, I didn't know they ripped off the theme song. No, could they do that?
Usually not. Usually you get in some sort of trouble for it, but I
So
don't
how
know.
did?
Maybe I don't know. I do remember it did sound eerily like Mr. Perfect's old WWF theme song.
Yeah, maybe there was. I don't think it could have been that. That's so they had somebody else do something similar.
Were you a fan of Perfect Sean Stasiak, aka Meat?
Well, I'm a fan of Sean, but I think he was just given a little bit too much and had a little bit too much off his. He bit a little bit more than he could chew. I think at the time, instead of just kind of learning and relaxing.
Looked like $1,000,000, didn't he? I mean, what a
Oh,
look.
great! Yeah,
Mike said it was the same song, just composed with different beats.
right. Sounds
Nice.
about right. Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to bring up was the WWE releases. I don't know if you saw the whole list, the whole names of everybody WWE released. There was actually 11 releases the other
Ooh,
day, and it actually was going on kind of like during and even a little bit after SmackDown. So Elektra Lopez, who was released, she was actually on SmackDown and released afterwards. So I thought that was
right.
interesting, right? You figure if somebody's on TV that day, no way they're getting released, but she was released. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson were
Now that
released.
surprised me because they'd been there for so long. I didn't know if they'd been working the house shows or not, but they'd been there for a long time. That one, those two did surprise me.
And I heard nothing but great things about them in the locker room as well, that they're like the
Oh
locker
yeah,
room leaders. Everybody loves them.
yeah, definitely good guys.
Carl was hurt though, too. So usually they don't, especially WB, usually doesn't cut guys when they're hurt or hadn't been cutting guys when they were
Mm.
hurt. So kind of an interesting wrinkle to it as well.
Yeah, no doubt.
Isla Dawn, which I was kind of surprised. She was a former, not that long ago, tag team champion of the women's division. Looks like $1,000,000. I'm surprised she got released. Giovanni Vinci. Remember they gave him the rich guy gimmick? He was driving around in Ferraris and stuff, and then he had matches and he would lose in 30 seconds. That was weird.
I don't recall that. Sorry.
Years ago, I know you probably won't remember this. I asked you if they would ever do anything like as a rib, like mess with guys just to mess with them, and you told me yes. That's what
Uh,
it felt like with this guy. Like, oh, we're gonna pretend he's rich and he's got all this money, he's got all these cars, and then when he wrestles, he loses in 30 seconds.
that could have been a
Like,
rip.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I remember Al Snow one time said to me, he goes, "Oh, they would never do that. They would never waste TV time to do that." I was like, "Well, Dr. Tom, who actually was, pretty high up there in the company at one point, doing talent relations, everything else, I was like, he told me differently." I was like, and I've heard from other wrestlers that they definitely do it differently.
Well, there's some ha-ha involved sometimes, and the only ones who know what's going on are the guys who need to know what's going on, I guess. But it's been
Even
yeah.
even Terry Taylor, your longtime close personal friend Terry Taylor, when he debuted in 88, 89 in WWF, it was such a rib on him too. I literally just recently rewatched it. I didn't even remember this. Heenan goes, "Oh, here's my new guy, Terry Taylor," and he's like kind of like pretending he's going to pump him up. And this is his manager. This is his debut. He goes, "You're not as big as Andre the Giant. You're not as tough as Rick Rude. You're nowhere near as strong as Haku." He goes, you're, and he looks at me, he goes, "You're definitely not perfect. You need the gym." Like just ripping him apart. He goes, "But I'll make you into somebody great." I was like, wow, that's got to be a rib on Terry Taylor's first day there. They're pumping him up. He's like all cocky, and he just knocks him
Right.
completely. Yeah. So I was like, of course they do that. They do it all the time. They've been doing this since the 80s.
Sure. Well, long before that, I think the 30s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jess
Anyway,
McMahon, I'm sure, was doing that. Yeah.
sure.
Toots Mont was probably doing it back in the day. Yeah.
Hell, Muldoon was doing it. So was Zabisco.
Scorch said mid-card mafia drama refers to the mid-card performers stabbing each other in the back to prevent one another from getting a push that would take them to the next level. Interesting.
Interesting. Well, that's been going on forever too. I just didn't know that's what it was called.
Did that ever happen to you?
No.
Really? Wow. You know what? I heard from Brodus Clay Tyrus a very interesting, pretty cool John Cena story. You know,
Is that
Cena.
right?
Let's be honest. Cena. Sometimes you hear stories of certain guys where he kind of got them fired, or he kind of got them depushed. A
Mhm.
lot of big guys, and a lot of big names that happens. Unfortunately, in the business, Triple H has done that a few times. I'm sure. Even the Hulkster has done it. I'm sure. But Brodus Clay was about to get his WrestleMania spot. Remember that dancing thing that he did? Call your
Of
mama
course
and
I do.
yes.
Yes.
So he was going to get that cut, and Vince told Cena to go out, and Cena said he couldn't. He had to go to the bathroom, that he wasn't feeling well. So Vince goes, "All right, you're not cut. You're back out there. Go out there." He goes, "You got 8 minutes." So like Cena saved him from being on WrestleMania. He wouldn't have been on. Wouldn't have got a payday. So, and he said Cena literally like winked at him, like I got to go to the bathroom.
Right.
So it's like, wow, what a nice thing of Cena to do. That's your guy.
You never know, huh? You never know.
That's your guy. Just to continue on the releases, Sonya Deville was released.
Oh, okay.
Blair Davenport,
I liked her.
AO, AOP, Akam, and Razor. Cedric Alexander, who I believe will be picked up by AEW quickly and put with the Hurt business, the Hurt Syndicate, obviously
Yeah.
with MVP, Lashley, and Benjamin. And last but not least, Hall of Famer Paul Ellering was released.
Hmm. Wow. Well, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, 11 names there. Anybody surprise you?
Not really. Except maybe again Luke and uh,
Carl.
Luke and Carl. Yeah, that's about it.
Will Dr. Tom be appearing in the new season of Dark Side of the Ring? Wow.
No, will not.
Did you like Dark Side of the Ring? Because there's a couple guys that did Dark Side of the Ring, and now they're like, it's too negative. Now they're saying that they don't want to be a part of it, and they don't like what it was doing. But it's called Dark Side of the Ring. You kind of know, right? When you're getting interviewed for, you kind of know the gist of it. I would imagine.
Yeah, and some of the stories were interesting. But I agree. You don't want to be around too much negativity or talk about it and remember things that are unpleasant. And you don't see. I don't have that many stories that I really want to tell. I had a really good time, but there's a lot of things I think that um, just what stays in Vegas or what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas type thing.
Yep. Yep.
So what happened with everybody behind the scenes happened behind the scenes, and and there's stories to be told, no doubt. But to me, I just always felt that what happened happened, and yeah, you had to. I mean, you had to watch guys who were a little out of control and be careful with that. But I think there's too much dark side of the ring material to put it out there for everybody to see. Although people are interested in stuff like that.
March 25th, Tuesday, March 25th, is the new season. The subjects this season will be Mick Foley and Hell in a Cell, Big
Oh,
Van Vader, Tony Atlas, Ludwig Borga, which one of my all-time favorites, Billy Jack Haynes, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, Superstar Billy Graham, Daphne, Muhammad Hassan, and the original Sheik. So
hmm.
interesting lineup for the new season of Dark Side of the Ring.
I wonder who they're going to get to talk about the Sheik.
Sabu, RVD, Brian Solomon, who did the Sheik book. He's a great historian. So, and he used to work for WWE for many years. So maybe Brian. Yeah, I wonder who else. Someone, maybe Abby and a couple others.
Yeah, maybe.
Frank's got an interesting point here. He's Cuban American, and Scott Hall played Razor Ramon so well that he actually thought he was Cuban American.
Yeah. See?
that funny? Vince never saw Scarface. Isn't that crazy?
Well, not when you know he's just a workaholic and there's nothing else he does except work.
Well, apparently he likes football. That's apparently a little bit that we know about
Well,
Vince.
yeah, yeah, but that's not some movie you have to sit down and invest 3 hours in.
Right. True. Have you ever seen Scarface?
Again, does the Pope shit in the woods as a bear Catholic?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good movie.
Great
Oh,
movie.
oh, I don't know how you're going to feel about this. This could be controversial to you. Dell is saying, I don't understand why so many boys dislike Terry Taylor. He comes across as such an easygoing guy in his shoot interviews. What do you think
Oh, I
about
don't,
that?
I don't understand why some of the boys just like Terry Taylor either. It's baffling to
Really?
me.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm baffled.
Not a political assassin or anything like that? No? That couldn't be? No?
Gee, not that I know of.
Oh, all right. Um, I've had some interactions with him. I thought he was pretty pleasant, to be honest. I like Terry Taylor. I
I
just didn't
love
like the
Terry
Red Rooster.
Taylor.
I just didn't
I
like the Red
love,
Rooster.
and I love the Red Rooster.
Wow. Oh my God. Well, Dell, you're unearthing stuff here with that. Why do you think Marco Stunt, Abaddon, Riho era of AEW had better ratings than today's roster?
Maybe because the people were given it a chance in the beginning and they saw what it was and said to hell with it and left.
Plus,
I
you had
guess.
for a while you had Cody, obviously, known as a bit of a star.
Yeah.
CM Punk, when he came in, was a huge ratings getter for them. Obviously, they haven't been able to capitalize on anything since Punk left. If you look at it, like Punk's ratings versus the ratings now, it's like wow, they weren't able to get somebody like of Punk's ilk to help him out. And obviously, when Danielson first came in and he had that run with Omega where they had that match, that did over 1 million, and like that did really good too. And they just could never capitalize after that.
Well, yeah, and you got to have the momentum, man, and just otherwise you got nothing. And I don't know what they have now that's gonna pick up momentum.
Look at this. Scorched, and a little bit of a spoiler here. In the new season of Dark Side of the Ring, Billy Jack Haynes gives an interview from prison.
Hmm. Yeah. Wow.
That's that's new or different or kind of intriguing. Now I'm
Yeah.
definitely watching that episode. I love
Right.
Billy Jack, but now I'm definitely watching.
Hmm.
Barbara, I can't see many taking that kind of bump that fully took off the cage. Do young wrestlers ask you how to do that and not get injured? Do they ever ask crazy questions?
Yeah, they ask a lot of crazy questions. Yeah. They want to know how to do things without getting hurt. And some stuff you're gonna do that's gonna hurt. It ain't ballet.
Do you remember what Jim Ross said?
No. What Jim Ross say?
He goes, some idiot at home was thinking, he knows how to fall. Like he's
Yeah.
like ripping these guys, which is so true. Like, no, they're really getting hurt like severely. And Foley might be the toughest guy ever because he took two of those bumps back to back, which is nuts.
Well, and some guys are they just take to doing stuff like that, and it's kind of like this this perverse uh, innate ability to go out and do the kind of stuff that Mick Foley did, do the kind of stuff Terry Funk did, and do the kind of stuff that those guys did back then. These days, guys are doing different stuff that's just as dangerous,
Yeah.
but it's dangerous in a different way. And there's you can get the same thing you're looking out of getting doing that spot if you know how to work. I think. And what I mean by working is I'll take that back because the guys working today are doing a great job. They really are doing a great job. And I don't know if you're ever going to get I don't know how many millions were watching during the Attitude Era, but people keep referring back to that. And now I heard there's only like 1.5 million watching on Netflix. Well, that's 1.5 million that's now watching something else. I mean, I can tell you, we're not getting 1.5 million viewers. So they're doing a
Right.
pretty good job.
No, it's actually 3 million on Netflix. Not the 6
Oh, okay.
million that they started out with, but it was actually about 3 million.
So it's just cut to half because people can watch it anytime they want. So if they don't watch it during that first week, you can just always go back and watch it. So that's great. They're doing a great job.
Oh, look at this. Ouch. I don't understand why so many of the boys like Dr. Tom. Ouch.
Because I'm not a friggin' asshole 94 times a day. That's why.
Is Bo? Is the king?
Yes, yes,
Uh,
he's an asshole 94 times a day.
Hello, Ibsen. Ibsen is throwing out a nice little nugget here that I didn't know, which is really cool. Demolition is in talks to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. Today, they put them in the alumni section of their
Well,
website.
how about that? See, that's good.
If you think about it, I know people, they love certain teams, but WWF wise, they were the champs, for 400 days during the biggest period in WWF, the Hogan era period, where they were really, I mean, talk about Attitude Era, 10 million people probably watching it. Hogan and Andre at one point had 33 million people watching it. So, I mean, that era to me is the best. But Demolition was the best tag team. And they were the champs for the longest during that run. So they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame before many other tag teams deserve to
Right.
be.
Well, maybe they're seeing that. Hey, it's time to forgive. They being WWE.
Yep. They wanted to be in last year, but commitments they could not. Interesting.
Hmm.
Barbara says New Jack took some crazy bumps. Now he's dead. True. That's your buddy, New Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, whatever happened to good old fashioned full Nelson? It needs to be brought back. Do you train to full Nelson?
Well, Ricky and Full Nelson were brothers, and they had a great tag team going up in the Carolinas. And when Ricky got out, Full just said to hell with it too. He was going to leave too. So I just think it's one of those things where you can still do a full Nelson, sell it for about 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or it's a transition hold. It's not something you can work for a good 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes in a match. Those days are gone. But you can always you can make something work. It's just how you sell it and how you apply it and your body language. I truly believe it. There's only so many holds. Watch the holds that the guys use. Watch how many times they use it on an arm crank or a wrist lock or a headlock. Simple things they do to transition into the other spots they have to get to for today's audience. Coming off the second rope, coming off the top rope, just or doing a spot. It's a faster pace, but the moves and the basics, the fundamentals never go out of style. It's just it's the tempo and the body language and the feeling that you have when you come to the ring. If you feel it, they'll feel it. They being the fans.
We don't see the coal miners glove match or the scaffold match any longer. Should they make a comeback?
I don't know, but the coal miners glove match, something on a pole, has always been exciting. I don't know if people know what coal miners glove. I don't even think they knew what a coal miners glove was back then. But yeah, I just think they've been done. So I think that maybe they want to hold off, or there'll be a scaffold match again somewhere someday. Because what's old is new again.
Would you like to see a new Moondog character in today's wrestling?
If we could get a Moondog character, kind of like a Bray Wyatt character, that'd be awesome. I think a new Moondog character would be awesome.
I agree. All right, Dr. Tom, let's wrap this bad boy up. Head towards the plugs. You follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2Man Power Trip. Follow Dr. Tom at Dr. Tom Prichard. What do you have going on in this crazy world, and where can everybody get a Dr. Tom book?
Well, you can get a Dr. Tom book if you go to jpwrestlingacademy.com and click on the training tab up at the top. It'll come to my book. If you want an autographed copy, you can send me an email at jpwrestlingacademy@gmail.com. Just put attention Dr. Tom signing, and I'll sign it and get it back to you.
All right. Jack is saying ICP should be in the WWE Hall of Fame. I kind of wouldn't really mind that. I kind of agree.
Yeah,
thank you. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, everybody out there. Oh, thank you, Mike, as well. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Mike, the street cat, Mike.
Yeah.
Dr. Tom for Hall of Fame, long overdue. Yeah, speaking about demolition.
Yeah.
Yes, whoop, whoop. From Jack, ICP rules. I love ICP. But thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you right back here next week for a little Taking to School with Dr. Tom. See you next week, folks.